Hey everybody, it's Jasmine, your brow expert. How did I become a brow expert? Well, first of all, as you can see, I have no makeup on. So I'm going to try to apply some makeup as I talk you through my journey as a makeup artist. But before I do that, right over here, I'm going to show you real quickly my skincare routine. So many of you guys have asked me, what do you use for your skincare? And I posted this video on Instagram. I'm going to just quickly talk to you through what I never leave home without. These three things I believe is the key to just healthier glow on the skin. So let me just show you real quickly and then I'll get back into my story. So first I use the DNA serum. I call this the miracle drug. It's great because it makes my skin obviously not only feel good, but they actually use this for skin that is going through some sort of healing, any kind of trauma. Of course, the vitamin C serum, we all know, right? Because we love this, right? It evens out the skin tone. So I have a little bit of age spots. This is great because it really spreads it out and just makes the skin look a little bit more even. And then lastly, I love the collagen peptide serum. The collagen, of course, just makes the skin feel very supple, a little spongy, just tightens the skin up as well, just gives that youthful look. Okay, so how did I become a brow artist? Well, I became a makeup artist before I became a brow artist. I am a makeup artist I was a makeup artist in the 90s, so that tells you how old I am. Okay, so back then, makeup was a really big deal. Not that it's not now, but makeup artistry and focus on very good makeup artists in the retail stores was a big thing. So I was lucky enough to work with amazing makeup artists, working for MAC Cosmetics, and then I became a trainer for the company. That's another long story, but that's how I became a makeup artist because I realized, I'm not really good at much as far as like artistry, but I loved it. I loved the art of hair, makeup. I tried it all and I realized, I'm not good at this and that, but I'm pretty good with makeup. So, and during this, I will point out all the makeup I use, which is of course by Anastasiabeverlyhills because I've been with her for over 25 years. And so naturally, I'm going to use all her products. I mean, with an exception of a few things here and there, but I really do love her makeup. I really do. And I've done makeup for brides, wedding makeup. So I've done it all. I've done runway makeup. I've done magazine model makeup for models. So I've done a little bit of makeup here and there to where I know what I'm good at. And then I evolved in doing eyebrows. So how do I get to doing eyebrows 100%? You notice that I use the foundation on my eyelid. That's partly because, my eyelid could be smoother looking. As we age, of course, our skin everywhere. I mean, I don't know how my skin's looking on the screen here, but I'm at the mercy of good lighting, but I'm not using any filters. So I'm also at the mercy of outdoor lighting. So hopefully I look okay. But I use a tiny bit, put it on my hand, and I use the brush 18 brush because, this is what I travel with. This is what I use. This is what you guys see me use all the time, right? So I don't fuss a lot with my makeup. You guys are going to notice that. I do very little because I believe good eyebrows, good skin that's why people use filters, right? You can have little to no makeup on, but if you have a filter on, wow, you look great, right? So skin is important. Yes, I mean, I was blessed with some good genes from my parents, but I did start early on with good skincare at an early age because my aunt used to do my facials and she really drove that home. So thank you, Auntie, for giving me the best skin possible. Okay, so I use a tiny bit on my eyelid, the foundation that is. Mine is 315 neutral. I don't put it anywhere else yet because I do get a little messy and some things will fall on my cheeks. So I just don't bother with any of that yet. And I don't put that much on my skin, but you'll see what I use in just a second. So a little bit goes a long way. That's what I do. And you guys, if you don't know this already, I have an eyeliner tattoo and a brow tattoo. Brow tattoo I did many, many years ago. I've touched it up over time. And if you're interested on the pros and cons of tattooing, the eyeliner, the eyebrows, definitely check that out. I do have some posts on that. I talk a little bit about that just because obviously I have experience in it. So you want to check that out if you're thinking about that. So, and as we age, we lose a lot of the frame, the brows, the eyelashes, you know, thick lashes. It doesn't always have to be long, but having a lot of eyelashes frames your eyes as well. So that's why I did the eyeliner tattoo, because I'm like, I'm washing out. Okay, so you know, little things to be as youthful as possible helps. I don't like that phrase, anti-aging, because although we all would like to be against aging, we're gonna age regardless, right? So you can't anti something that's gonna happen, but we certainly can be as youthful as possible, right? Okay, so I go very simple. Whatever palette that's in, which is usually neutral for me, is what I use. So right now I'm been using Spice palette by Anastasiabeverlyhills. Now these don't actually have names to it. They have numbers in the back. So, but I use mainly the middle side right now. I do use the top side, but I've actually tried all of these colors. I love all of them. So this really does work well for me, but I go back and forth, and I use the sultry palette as well, especially if I want something a little bit more dramatic or going out kind of look, which I'll throw on real quickly. But yeah, so the brow artistry happened because I ran into someone that I used to work with in MAC Cosmetics, and he was working for Anastasia in Beverly Hills. And I said, hey, how's that going? And he was like, oh, it's great. You have to come by, meet her. This might be something you would like. And because I was in a transition of doing all I can do with makeup, teaching everybody how to do makeup, which I did enjoy. I enjoyed the teaching part, which is probably why I do the YouTube now. But yeah, so, and I don't like much on my eyelid. So I'll just grab the neutral color way at the top corner, and I just pat it over my eyes. Just very, very simple. Because you don't want something that's so bare on the eyelid and then throw on something shiny, which, by the way, I love shiny. If you're on the mature side, I'm 57. I'm 58 years old now. You know, after a while, you just stop counting, right? But I just turned 58. And, you know, some of you might be thinking I'm too old for anything shiny. You know, anything shiny can be too much. It could creep in and show off the lines, but I believe some shine, or if not a lot of shine, but something dewy shine, will give it more of a youthful look, no matter how many lines you think you have or you do have, and it's just kind of going further down. Don't worry, trust me on this. Try it out if you're not sure. But if you put some kind of sparkle on your eyelid, which I love to do, I'm like putting sparkles now, but not really thick sparkles. This middle area has, and I'm using just like the middle side right now. Sometimes I put the pink, or I dab all of it on the brush, and I just put it on the eyelid. Very, very simple. And like I said, you're gonna find that my makeup routine is quick and easy. I don't like to fuss a lot with my makeup. And so, and you know, just having something shiny, not glittery. There's a big difference from glittery to shiny. This just gives it more of, I think, anything dewy and a little shine, I think is great, especially if you have a lot more wrinkles or dryness. If you live in a drier climate and you need something that's more dewier looking, try this out, because I promise you, it really does help give that kind of youthful look, no matter what. So I decided to meet Anastasia. I talked to her about, you know, what I do, and she was in the process transitioning into, not out of doing eyebrows, but getting more into the makeup side. So I came in helping her how to do some of the colors, right? So I really enjoyed that part, but I wanted to do eyebrows. I was like, I want to do that. Why not, right? And so she was like, well, you're not going to do it right away. You're going to need to get into it a little bit more, learn the tricks, and learn my style. And so she really trusted me. She was like, go for it. I think I'm going to be really good at it. She says, you're going to be really good at it, because she knew right now you're not that good. You think you are, but you're not that good. And so it's very humbling, especially when I've been doing makeup most of my early career, and I feel like, you know, I'm pretty good at makeup, which I was, but brows is a whole different beast. I do put a tiny bit of liner over the tattoo just a little bit. You don't need to put a lot, but I always like to just dab a tiny bit over. And you don't need to feel like you gotta do a perfect line. I always use a little angle brush, use the brow brush, anything that's angled and stiff. And I'm just using the darker black side of the sultry palette. And it will come off a little bit here, so make sure when you get the color, you tap a little bit. But I'm just going at the lash line. There's nothing fancy or tricky about doing eyeliner, especially if you just want a little bit of depth on your lash line. So a lot of us tend to like move the skin. I don't do that. I always lift up my chin and then just tighten up my forehead and just kind of like look wide-eyed. And so that way everything's tight. Because if you do a lot of movement with your finger, I believe when you let it go, it just, oh, that line looks so bad or so different one side to the other. And you always know that I say the eyebrows are a little uneven. The lash line is also uneven because one side of our eyes actually fall further than the other side. One side of the eye tends to be a tiny bit bigger than the other. So a lot of that contributes to the unevenness. So don't try to even it out so much that then you just start looking funny. So that goes with the eyebrows, right? But it also goes with the eyeliner. So I just keep it very close to the lashes, as if I'm putting eyeliner in the eyelashes. Again, see, notice that I'm like raising my chin and then I'm just tapping. I'm not making it fancy. It's not about trying to get it perfect. It's just about getting some dark little line on the lash line. So again, I just pretend that I'm putting in my eyelashes and then I'm just kind of barely touching. But some of it will kind of trickle down here. That's why I don't put all the foundation. Now, can you use liquid eyeliner or pencil? Of course. If you use a pencil, definitely be careful with it because when you use the pencil, it can be a little bit stiffer, right? So then, of course, you're going to have to like move your skin so it glides on. That's okay. Just as long as you keep it in the lash line and just go back and forth. That's very important. And I don't really move my skin as much with my other hand. I still tighten it up like this, just raise my temple like I'm surprised. Or like, I try to like pull it back in my head. And then I just kind of wiggle inside the lashes just to get that dark background. But if you want something a little bit more fancy, obviously you need to pull it out and just do this little, bring it out to the lash line. But we're not going to go that fancy right now. So that is my eyeliner. And then the lashes, this is the tricky part for me. Because when I do my eyelashes, I have very fine lashes. Like my lashes are barely there. And it's gotten less as I've gotten older. Because that's the thing I want to quickly tell you guys. Clients always ask me, what kind of serum does castor oil work? I need more brow hair. And I hate to say to everybody, but I will say it. Nothing works. It just doesn't. As we age, we lose hair follicles, and those cannot be brought back. You can't make more cells, more follicles. You have to work with what you have. And as you age, you lose more of the follicles. So there's serums out there, of course, that makes the hairs longer. So they're not lying when they say makes it grow. When your head of hair grows, you're not implying that you got more hair. You're saying that it's gotten longer, right? It's the same thing with eyelashes. So these serums work in that it makes it longer. It just doesn't create more hair. Some people have very thick hair fuzz, and you could get a cluster of it. So maybe you can cause the fuzz to get longer. But there just isn't anything out there that makes more hair. Otherwise, I always tell my clients there wouldn't be any more bald people. And they're always like, oh, yeah. Okay, so, but hey, some people still do the serum and swear by it. And that would work in that maybe it doesn't cause you to pull out more hair because you have a goal, right? So anything can work as far as preventing you from tweezing more, then go for it. I like the Shu Uemura lash curler. Is it Shu Uemura? No, it's Shiseido. I've used all the trendy TikTok lash curlers. They work to some point, and maybe it's the way I clamp, but I have lost a lot of eyelashes on these fancy curlers, so then I always come back to the Shiseido. I think the mechanics and how they designed it really helps to make sure that your lashes are as intact as possible. This is, like I said, my longest repertoire in my makeup routine, and you're going to see in just a second how, I don't know if you can see it right now, but there is a little bit on there. I use a waterproof mascara. There's nothing out there for me. I've tried it all. Water resistant, all the brands. I have this very cheap, I think it's called Lash. I got it in Korea. And it is waterproof, and I will tag this, or yeah, tag it. Everything will be in the description, so don't worry about that. But you're going to see in just a second, whatever mascara I put on my eyelashes, because of the fact that my lashes feel like lint, any weight will just pull it right back down. And so this is the only thing I've found that keeps my lashes up, and you can see the eyelashes. You can clearly see now, right? My eyelashes. Can you see it? And so I will save you the time for you watching me do my mascara, because this, like I said, can take a while. So let's just skip to this part. There you go with the mascara. And so this is pretty much my day look. And then I grab the brow pen. This is something that I do all the time. Because my brows are tattooed, obviously I have that background. If you look at my brows and go, I wish I even had that background, because you don't have a tattoo, put a little bit of powder over your eyebrow, even the bone area. Just even if you don't feel like you have eyebrows or you don't know where to start, I always tell everybody, just get color on there. Start from the front or wherever. Just apply it, get some color on there. Then you start seeing your eyebrows come to life a little bit. That's when you can grab like a highlighter underneath and be above. You've seen me do this like 1,000 times. Like if you just do this and above, you really start seeing the outline of your eyebrows. And then you can see like, oh, okay, this side is a little higher, it can be a little lower. And I'll just leave this just so that you guys can see what I mean, right? So you don't have to put a ton on, but just a tiny bit will really give you a visual as to what your eyebrows look like. And then sometimes it can help with the brow application, because then it helps them from getting too messy if you have that border. So think about doing that. Now, I'm not expecting everyone to pick this up, because I do this like 1,000 times, and I've been doing it on other people like 1,000,000 times. So, I love this brow pen because it just goes over. And if you do a little bit of powder first to give that background, the pen actually just goes on over the powder very nicely. The powder, you just want to make sure that you put very little on, and you just kind of take off the excess, but you're still able to see a little bit of that powder. That's when you have that outline, you're just going over it. Now, this is something if you want to do. You don't have to use a pen. You can do a pencil and just like, pencil in your eyebrows, but make sure it's not too heavy. And I always tell everybody, if you start in the middle to the end, but if you're used to starting in the front and filling in your eyebrows, make sure you fill spoolie, because then when you brush and comb the hairs or your skin, in my case, you're lightening up the front and you're really seeing the brows come to life, right? So it's really about having something on there first, so that way you see that structure. Now, the brow pen can get very dark. It can get, because it's wet, it dries to a matte and it stays on all day, which is why I love this product. And I love these little hair strokes. I love seeing hair strokes because I don't have the luxury of hair, or at all. A tiny bit up in the front, but at all. This just kind of gives me that pseudo hair stroke fluffy look, and some of you might be watching this and go, I have pretty good eyebrows, but there are gaps or holes. This is a really good thing to use to fill in those gapped areas, but I still go over it with the spoolie, even over the pen, just to tone everything down. So that's something to consider. Make sure you have a ton of these. I get this from the salon, of course, but you can get a ton of it in Amazon. They're not that expensive. So it's a good investment, really, but not that expensive, which is always a good thing. Okay, so my lashes are on. I'm always excited when the lashes are on, because then everything else is just really easy. It's fast. It's fast for me then. But so going back to doing the eyebrows, I asked her, I'm like, when am I going to start doing eyebrows? That's when Anastasia, that is, said, okay, well, you're getting pretty good at this. I think you can start doing clients. And that's really how it started. There wasn't much to it other than her having me watch her do eyebrows day in and day out. day in and day out. So I felt like, okay, I got this. And so that's when I started doing eyebrows on clients. Thankfully, I kept my hair license, my cosmetology license, right out of high school. I might have missed that. Right out of high school, I thought, oh, I want to do hair. Got the license, started doing hair, horrible at it, didn't like doing it, and I was really bad at it. I was like, great. I just gone through this whole cosmetology thing, and I do not like this. Went to Europe, did this whole Europe trip, came back with a debt. What am I going to do? And that's how I started with makeup. Worked at a makeup counter, and started selling makeup and realized, oh, I've always done makeup, other people's makeup, my friends, family, because it was just easy for me and have fun doing it. I didn't think you could actually make a living doing it. I'm going to now do the foundation, not the foundation that you can use for your face. I just use this on my eyelid. This actually is great for an evening look, really, because it really does cover your whole skin beautifully without looking, without feeling heavy. Okay, but I like a very light look on my skin. I don't mind my freckles. I don't mind some of the age spots. It's for me, I don't mind it, but you know, for some of you, you may want to cover all that. That's when you want to use something like this foundation. This really does cover it beautifully. Okay, so this is our new tinted moisturizer, which I really, really like. There's some skin benefits to this, but I use two shades actually. I use the darker one. They all come in numbers. I think this is 5 and this is 9, I think. The numbers are pretty high, but don't let that scare you. They're so sheer that I just put this right underneath my eyes right here, a little bit right here. Now, because I'm Asian and I don't mind the frame of my face, but my jawline, sometimes I want it to be a little bit toned down. Any areas that you want to tone down or hide a little bit. But I like to use the word tone down because, you know, you want to show off everything that you're born with, what God gave you, right? So you want to go right here, and anywhere else that you feel like you want to hide a little bit. So, and like I said, I'm not fancy with brushes. I'm sorry. I do have makeup brushes I use for like more of a contour if I want to do that. But I use my fingers a lot. So I'm really sorry if it's like, oh my gosh, she's using your fingers. You know what? It's me. Right? So right here, I'm just going for it. And then of course, right here, you want to blend it down your jawline area. And so, and the reason why I'm just doing this and talking to you through this, because I've had a lot of people ask me, what's your tip on this? What's your tip on this makeup? So I just thought maybe you guys be interested in what I do. This is what I do. Don't put a lot of time in my makeup, but there are things that as a makeup artist, I will make sure that you guys know is that and if you don't already, you probably know this by now because we're in 2020, soon to be 5. And so you already have an idea with all the experts out there that you want to bring it down the jawline area, right? Okay, so, and right over here, because it's so sheer, it doesn't look like you have makeup on, but it does even the skin tone out. So that's really all I care about. It's just evening the skin tone out. Now, remember the brush that had a little bit of the foundation? If in any areas, I will just go over if I feel like I need to cover more, especially around here. I have allergies. I live with allergies. So this area is always a little pink because I'm sneezing, blowing my nose throughout the day. It's horrible. But sometimes it's worse than others. So don't feel too bad for me. I'm so used to it now. So right over here or right on the side of the lips, anywhere that you want to just conceal, have that on you. You guys, these are makeup. Makeup can be redone, taken off, or especially foundation. You can, you know, tone it down, whatever. There isn't that much to it. So try not to make it too complicated. I don't. Maybe that's my fault. I don't know. But I always have a tissue because, you know, I want to clean up my fingers because I don't want to have all that makeup. This is how fast and quick I am. You've already seen my foundation, my eyeshadow, or what little of it I have, and then the foundation. Now, I've been really obsessed with these blushes. I like the liquid blush. Great for anyone that lives in a colder climate that's lacking moisture because it's cream, right? It does dry up a little bit, but not too much. I don't want it to be too dry. I don't mind my skin to be dewy, and it does take a little bit to get used to, but I'm right now using, actually I'm using all different colors. They come in quite a few different colors, but I mix them sometimes. Today, why don't I mix? And there's a dark one called Plum. And believe it or not, most people could wear this because it's liquid, so you could just spread it out. And then I'm mixing it with this, what is this? Guava. Guava is a great color. Sometimes it's good to just kind of use on its own. If you want just a tiny bit, you don't really need to, you know, did I get any on there? I'm like, did I get any on there? Okay, so I get a tiny bit right on the cheeks. Some people say, well, you know, this artist said to do it right here or out there. I just go right underneath the outside eye, right there, you know? And so underneath the outside corner of the eye, right over here. And, you know, again, it's liquid. So, and I'm just putting a tiny bit here, and you just mix it. You just mix it on your cheeks like this. And again, I'm using my fingers. Oh my God, you guys are probably looking at me going, why isn't she using a brush? You can use a brush. I just, I get lazy, and then I'm like, I gotta wash that brush then. But believe it or not, I actually don't mind the fingers, you know. So I think a lot of our makeup routine can be done with fingers, even the eyeshadow. A lot of artists will do that. Like I said, I've done makeup on sets, and you'd be surprised how many times makeup artists just use their finger. So but the brushes are very handy, especially a few of them that you can't obviously take place of an angle brush or a thin liner brush. That you definitely need. Okay, so, and as you can see, my skin's a little bit on the shiny side. I don't mind it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to add more shine. So I love this little brush. Now, you can use big fluffy brushes. I don't bother with that too much. But I do, right now, again, I'm all about the shine. So I'm using like our Glow Seeker palette. Not palette, it's a compact. And I just use a tiny bit because a little will go, whoo, she is glowing in the dark. You don't want to glow in the dark. I use a tiny bit over my nose right here. You can already see the reflection right here. This is when I get it highlighted, or you saw the contouring with the darker foundation, but I don't really get into all the contouring. That's a lot for me. Like I said, I get very lazy. And I'll put a tiny bit right here on the outside eye. Even though you feel like, oh, but I have too many lines, crow's feet. I'm not going to do that. Why not? This is a glow. So what it does is it glows the skin. I think the drier or more lines you have in certain areas, the more you want it to be dewy and shiny. I think it minimizes that look. That's just me. Try it out. See if it works for you. But a little bit here goes a long way, you guys. Everything else, if you find yourself on the dry side, that's why you don't really need that much powder. Your dryness will matte out the makeup a little bit, right? So now onto the lip. This is where I have shown you guys sometimes something outside of Anastasia lipsticks. I sometimes will just use a company called, I think it's Fresh or Sugar. It's one of the titles there. Again, I will put this in the descriptions. They're lip conditioners that's clear, and some of them have color to it. I love it because it just adds so much moisture. It is a little pricey, but it really moisturizes the lip. Adds a little bit of color if you want a lot of color. There's darker colors. But the reason why I really like this company and their lip conditioners is that it keeps your lips conditioned for a long time. It's not like chapstick, you guys. It's not even like those chapsticks that have color to it, because that can be drying and it doesn't really stay moisturized all day. This will literally stay moisturized. Maybe not all day, especially if you eat, but it keeps your lips moisturized, which is really, really good. My husband actually likes this, not the colored ones, the clear one, of course, because it doesn't make his lips very shiny, of course, but it just keeps the lips conditioned. This is where I can get a little soft in just a lip pencil. So right now, I love Anastasiabeverlyhills lip pencils. I really do, and I've tried a lot of them, trust me. I love the way it handles because it has like little wedges on it, so it's not circular. I feel like I could clamp it really nicely, and There's so many shades. This one I believe is, yeah, this one's muted mauve. Really pretty for like nice and natural look. Um, I just go right over the lip. I don't get too fancy, but you know, remember I have that lip conditioner underneath. And so the reason why I love lip pencils is because you could sometimes use this as a lipstick once you have some kind of conditioner underneath. But this really does help in just kind of framing the lips. So if you're not in the habit of doing this, don't worry about it. I do it sometimes. I don't do it all the time, but it really does frame the lips, don't you think? It like I said, it actually helps, you know, to keep the lip conditioner on much longer. So I love this muted. Use this color actually quite a bit. And I love pink. Who doesn't like pink? And the more olive you are, the more pink you should put on. Trust me, it gives that healthier glow. There's a few things that, before I forget, I tell you before I leave you, is that as you mature, good skin, but is important, of course, full brows is important. Blush and a little bit of lips, I think, is everything. That's what keeps you looking youthful. I don't like no blush because then I think it just makes you look washed out. You look a little maybe sickly. I like a little rosiness here. I like a little bit of color on the eyebrows because it frames the face. That's an anchor, which is why it's so important. And then a little bit of lips and you're good, right? So this is my lip. I mean, this is my lip. This is my makeup routine. And as far as doing the eyebrows, God really knows me, obviously. God created me, right? And he knows where I shine. And brows is something that I really shined in because it's something that I was able to get instant gratification. The before and after took me about 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes. But then right when I'm done, I get this after look. For some reason, he has gifted me with seeing this is the structure that's best for this person's face. And the going through the MAC journey and teaching people how to do makeup and also now doing eyebrows, I've enjoyed showing everybody what they're capable of doing. I'm going to do something slightly dramatic on the eyebrows. I mean, not on the eyebrows, on the eye makeup. When I go out, when I want a dressier look, I actually don't put more on my face. I just change up a tiny bit, and that just makes it more dressy. Now, there's been a really big trend in doing eyeliner above the wet line right here in the lash line inside there. And that's great. I think it's beautiful. Go for it. It's something that I think looks beautiful because it really gives it a dramatic look to the eyes and gives that dressier look. I have very dry eyes. I have to be so careful. And so there's like little tear ducts underneath, and that's what releases the moisture in your eyes. I didn't know that a long time ago until I went to an eye doctor, and I'm like, what's going on? And that's what she showed me. And when she pressed on it, you saw a tiny bit. It was, wow, no one ever told me this. So do it for like special occasions. Just don't do it on an everyday basis. But what I will do is put dark liner underneath. And so that to me adds that dressy look. Again, I'm all about quick and easy. So I don't put a lot of color inside on my eyelid and make that kind of shape. And sometimes I will put a ton of eyeshadow on the eyelid to make that dramatic look. Why not do that right now, right? Like, show me. Okay, so I'm going back to the Sultry palette. I just grabbed like a dark color, like a brown. I usually go with the brown or like a dark gray, but obviously you don't want to go black. Black is not good, just for eyelining. And I just use a lot of things I do upside down. You guys see me do eyebrows upside down, meaning the tools are above. Put a little bit of shadow really close to the lash line, and that elevates your look. To me, smoky look is one of the prettiest looks out there. So do that. Just right on the lash line or on your eyelid. Now, if you really want to go dramatic, you can just raise it all the way up and go as high as you want. Sometimes I've gone really high up on the eyelid and close to the brows. And as you keep going higher and higher and higher, obviously it's not as dark because you've gotten rid of a lot of the color on the brush, just as long as the base is dark. But here's the real big trick. I like to go dark underneath, so I will put liner in the wet line right here. Now, if you find yourself like, okay, I can't do the pencil because it tickles, it doesn't stay on that well, then don't do the eyeliner, use the powder. I do that sometimes. I don't recommend it if you're, again, have a lot of allergies like myself, but for a night, it doesn't bother me as much. But this is where you want to just put it right on the wet line. They call it the wet line. It's, it's the wet line right here. So I just dab with the angle brush the black liner. This is where I just put a little bit, and you see the difference from boom, dramatic, right? And I always like to put a tiny bit where the lashes are down here. Now this is when it can get a little messy. Maybe I should have done this. Well, yeah, before I did all the other stuff, but I just kind of transitioned into this. Say that you're, having this, and then you're like, I want this. Okay, so this is just a dramatic option. Great for people that are more on the mature side and you want something dramatic. Try this out. Make sure that you have like a blending brush or your finger. And then you just kind of smooth it out underneath, just so that it won't be too much, right? But you notice the difference. It already just gives it a dramatic look without having to do too much. Anyone can do this, just putting it right at the lash line. There's no like trick, meaning there's not a special way of applying it. Just get it on there. And then once you get it on there, that's when you apply a little bit of extra color down at the outside corner. That just kind of smudges it out. You don't want it so, and then of course you use my finger because finger is everything, you guys. Don't feel like you need something extra, okay? Now again, if it's a little, mine just fell down a tiny bit, so then you always want to have a brush like this and just clean it up. But or sometimes I've used spoolie brushes and just dusted off some of the excess, and hopefully that helps. But you guys get the idea, right? You get the idea. But yeah, so let me just clean it up a tiny bit, and it can get a little messy, so be careful about that. You don't want to like start all over. And if I did this, you could see the darkness. But you know what? As long as you have a little bit of the foundation there, and just kind of, oh, I had a little left over on my hand, and then I could just put a tiny bit right here and then just clean it up. I cleaned it up with the foundation. It works. Trust me, it works. Okay, so there you go. A little cleanup. See, I'm not perfect either. Far from that, right? Okay, so this is the dramatic look. Not bad. This is how I amp it up. And, with lips, I sometimes will amp up the lips, but if I have a very dramatic on my eyes, I go very subtle with my lip. But if you want to go a tiny bit more, just add gloss. Gloss is all you need. Clear gloss, any gloss will really work. If you just put gloss on your lips, remember your eyes are more on the dramatic side. I like the contrast where it's dramatic and then light here. This works for evening look, right? And it's easy. And it's easy to touch up. Even if you don't have full lips, just putting a little bit of gloss and a little bit of background pencil underneath will make a big difference. As long as you're more on the dramatic side on the eyes, you don't really need that much here. So keep that in mind. And so, yeah, you guys got all my journey. Well, not everything. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for this year. A happy new year, Merry Christmas, all the blessings. I hope that this year was a great year for you, and I hope that next year will be even better. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys soon.